welcome or
Bonjour.
welcome to Coffee Talk. My name is Brendan Smith with Batdorf and Bronson Coffee Roasters. This is my lovely wife. How do you say your name in French? What's your French name?
Pamela Smith. Wait,
Say-
that sounded
to the-
Spanish.
Say it to the camera.
Pamela Smith.
Pamela Smith is here with us today because today we are going to be talking about French press. So if you've ever had questions about your French press, you've wanted to know how to do it right, how to do it wrong, how to make it feel so right, but it is so wrong, we're here to answer all of those questions today from both a coffee expert and a woman who looks mildly French. So thank you for tuning in. Please share the stream. If you share, we're going to give away a French press to one lucky viewer today that shares the stream. And let me just take a look and make sure everything looks great. So share that stream. We're going to answer your questions in the comments. If you French press and you love it, let us know. If you French press and you hate it, let us know. We're going to explore some different technique to get different results out of your French press. It's a super versatile device, really useful. So tune in, stay with us, share the stream to win. And welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm going to let Pamela monitor the comments for us. So everybody wave bye. Comment if you'd like to see more of her. I know I would. And we will get going. All right, we got comments coming in already. And, oh, fun. Shoot. Let's fix that. I think we got... 1 second here. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. No, you should have, everybody should be able to hear me. So I'm going to give you just a second to tune in. Drop your comments in the chat for our French press discussion. And we'll see if we can't.
The title says cold coffee.
Yeah, can you change it? Okay, sorry, the title is wrong. This is the French press talk, not the cold coffee talk. So either Pam or maybe Josh will change that in just a second. We're going to keep going. Okay, so French press coffee. Another thing I want to talk to you about is some of our coffees that we have here at Batdorf. So today, we're going to feature a couple of our blends and a couple of our darker roasted coffees. So I brought a few with me today that the roastery was kind enough to roast up fresh for us. First up is our Sumatra, truffles, cedar, and clove. This is a favorite. Shout out to our customer, City's Bistro on Central Avenue in St. Pete. This is their daily driver, and they do a wonderful job with it. Sumatra, for us, has kind of a bell pepper thing going on, but in the sweet way. I like to say that it's like sweet tobacco, which is a funny thing to say considering I've never consumed tobacco, but that like warm, sweet, rich kind of thing that's going on that feels like it should go next to a leather-bound book. For me, that's Sumatra. It's got a bit of earthiness. It's got a bit of a sweet vegetal vibe to it. It's really nice. That's our Sumatra. Also, let's go. Where is? Did you grab the other coffee there? We've also got our French roast. French roast is one of our more popular. This is the organic French roast. And it's fantastic. I know this is a favorite for a lot of our customers. You know, I had a gentleman in the lab one day who said to me, I said, do you want to try our French roast? And he said, I've never had a French roast I liked. And I said, well, give ours a try. And I made it. I actually made it in a Chemex, which I think the French roast works really well with. So if you have a Chemex, check that out. And he was blown away by how good it was. It's one of our darker roasts, but it holds up to really sweet, clean, roasty flavors. Really well balanced. If you like a darker coffee, you're going to be blown away by this. This is my parents' favorite coffee, incidentally. And we have our Italian roast. The Italian roast is darker than the French roast. So this is our darkest roast. This is our second darkest. The Italian roast is for that person who really likes a dark coffee. The notes are oak, toffee, and bittersweet chocolate. So very dark. We use it in some of our blends to add a little pleasant semi-sweet chocolate note, which it does really, really well at. But if you like a dark cup, this is definitely the ultimate one, and we definitely have some fans of that one who love that as well. Of course, our Dancing Goats blend is a darker coffee. It's kind of a medium dark. It's our most popular coffee, our crowd pleaser. Everyone loves it. Notes are cherry, chocolate, and spice. Really, really good all-around winner, no matter the brew method. And then I brought a decaf. This is our Whirling Dervish, which comes in regular and decaf. It is Swiss water processed, which is a natural decaffeination process where we're not using chemicals, right? We're decaffeinating it in a way that is safer and better, and we're just more comfortable with it. Notes are molasses, chocolate, and cherry. And this is an organic coffee, certified, fantastic. This is the coffee I would say, if you want to have a little dessert coffee, grab this. No question. A little piece of cake, a little something in the evening, a little decaf Whirling Dervish. Absolutely a great choice. And it comes in caffeinated version as well. So, and then lastly, I'll show you the Mocha Java. This is the one I'm brewing up for you today. I just opened it up. Notes are clove, frankincense, and peanut butter. It's super unique, guys. You just have to try it. But I love the Mocha Java. It's fantastic. Our fantastic account in South St. Pete, Southside Coffee Brew Bar, they were brewing it up a couple of weeks ago, and Pam and I had it there. It was awesome. Shout out to Southside. We love them. So Mocha Java is great. I feel like everyone should or probably does love Mocha Java, and I highly recommend that one. All right, so if you've got questions about the coffees, hit us up. We're going to put links in the comments. We've got a link to the website. You can purchase anything you purchase today. We're throwing you 10% off. We love the crowd that's been joining us, gathering to watch these programs, to learn. So use code WATCHANDLEARN10 for 10% off your entire order. We're extending that coupon just for you guys. We appreciate you so much. Also, if you buy a brewer and a bag of our Dancing Goats, you'll see 25% off the coffee in the cart. That is an unadvertised special other than spoken right here on our videos. So check that out. Okay. We are going to get brewing. Let me take a look here and refresh so I can see the comments. All right. I don't see them. Oh, well. All right. Well, Pam will let me know if you have any questions. But please hit us up. We're happy to help.
No questions, but Katie Dow is tuned in. She says, hi, Brendan.
Hey, Katie.
Making us coffees are absolutely delicious.
So let's take a look real quick at a couple of French presses that you can pick up. They come in all shapes and sizes. This is one that we have for sale right now. It's made by Bodum, the original manufacturers of the modern French press. And I'm also going to show you we have a little baby size. The 8-cup size will make coffee for 2 to 3 people. And this is a little 3-cup size, which is truly coffee for 1 and not a huge cup of that. I already put a little ground coffee in that just now. It's not dirty from being used. It just looks that way. And then we also have this awesome one. Let me slide this over so you can see it. This is from our friends at Planetary Design. It is a camper French press. Comes in a set with 2 mugs, just like this. And you can see the cute little mugs with the goats camping. Who doesn't love a little camping goats? Works just like a normal French press. I washed it. Hasn't been used yet, but I washed it out. Except it's thermal. And thermal means it's going to keep your coffee hot for hours. It's also got a patented brew stopper built in to separate the ground coffee from the rest of the brew after you brew it. And what that does is that makes it so that the coffee doesn't risk over extraction by hanging out too long after your brew time is elapsed. Awesome set if you love camping. I think it's pretty beautiful too. You can buy that on our website. We'll throw a link to the Planetary Designs set. Comes with the mugs. We also have the Brazil, which is this one here. And then we also carry the Chambord, which is probably the most classic, iconic design. This is my personal one I've had for about 20 years. And for some reason, when we moved, I can't find the rest of it. But if you've seen them, that's what they look like. The difference is this one's all metal. This one has some plastic here and here, but it is BPA free and something else free. It's good quality stuff. The actual strainers are all metal on both of them. They're the same. And then this is glass as well, just so you know. So this one's a little less expensive, works equally well. This one is sort of that classic iconic design where you have the glass cylinder inside of a metal framework. Awesome, works really well. It's nice that you can pull the glass out to clean it. Just don't put it in the dishwasher assembled because they will explode. Because glass expands quicker than metal, I believe. Someone call me out if I'm wrong. Something like that. Anyway, so those are the designs. You can get, again, 10% off your French press, 25% off Dancing Goats, all kinds of deals going on. Sorry, I keep switching scenes to see what looks best. So let's get to brewing. Any, Pam, let me know if any questions come in. Otherwise, we're going to get brewing. All right. So the first thing you want to do, I'll zoom in here. Move these cute little cups. Aren't they great? They got a little rubber, like no slip kind of situation. It's a great little set. Pick those up on our website. We just put this on the site for you just for today to make sure that we had enough in stock. So please grab one. Tell them I sent you. Also, for those of you who've been asking, we just put this. This is the Brewista Smart Scale. We'll put a link to this. Awesome little coffee scale with 6 modes of programming. It can handle auto tare, auto stop, timing, anything you need. It's also got a rubberized non-slip cover that can go on top to protect it. And this is my personal one that I use all the time. So that is available as well. Okay, so talking about French press technique, if you've made French press before, there's a classic way to make it, and then I'm going to talk about some alternate ways to make it. All right, so classic French press recipe is coarsely ground coffee. And we put the coarsely ground coffee into our French press. The ratio is going to be somewhere in a similar ratio to what we use. I like to use a little more coffee, so maybe 1:14. So for this, I put 20 grams of coffee in this little guy. I'm going to put them on my scale. I'm going to fill it up. And you truly only want to make as much coffee as you're going to drink. But in this case, this little booger only holds enough coffee for one. So I'm just going to fill it up with hot water around 200 degrees. I think I might have let this one cool down a little too much, so we'll get some more hot water for the next one. And then I'm going to give it a stir. And I'm going to set my timer for 4 minutes. You want to leave enough room. Also, you notice I spun the press while I poured it, and that's just to evenly saturate.
Which coffee are you brewing?
Everything we're brewing today is the Mocha Java. Mocha Java, clove, frankincense, and peanut butter. It's an awesome, I'm telling you, until you've had it, it's like that one sandwich that everyone says you got to try, and you go, really? I don't know. And then you take a bite and you order one for here and one to go because it was so good. That's the Mocha Java. Trust me, it's great. So we're going to let this brew for 4 minutes. And at the end of that 4 minutes, we're going to press out some coffee. So hit me up with your questions if you need me to repeat something. But I'm going to show you that way to brew, and then I'm going to show you kind of an alternate way to brew. For a moment, I want to talk about grind size. Traditional French press coffee, traditional recipes call for a coarser ground coffee. I'm going to show you a recipe that uses a little bit coarser, and I'm going to show you one that uses a little bit finer. But I want to show you 2 examples of ground coffee. You can just grab one of those. Both of these, let me see if I can prop them up. Both of these were ground to French press, okay? And I don't know if you can tell very well or not difference. This was ground on an Encore, Bronson Encore, which is one of the best home coffee grinders you can get. It was ground on setting 30. This was ground on my commercial Malconic grinder, which is about a $2,000 commercial grinder. And it was also ground on their recommended French press setting. The difference is you can see that the Malconic made a more even grind with fewer boulders, which is pieces that are a little too large. When you grind coarse, it's difficult to grind even. Same thing when you grind very fine, it becomes difficult, right? I find, especially in the home, that pulling back the coarseness just a little bit over what's recommended typically can oftentimes yield a little bit better cup. So that's my tip. We want a coarser grind because it's a full immersion brew, meaning the coffee and the water hang out for the entire time. But if you pull back just a little bit, I think you can oftentimes still end up with a better cup of coffee. The way to tell if you've pulled back, if it's too fine, is if it starts to get astringent, dry, over-extracted notes, then you need to coarsen up the grind just a little bit, right? But as you make it slightly finer, I think you'll find that the first thing that happens is it sweetens the coffee just a little bit, and it pulls out more of those pleasant flavors. So play with it, experiment, try it for yourself. Let me know what you think. We can also grind it for you. I showed you my Malconic grinder. In the roastery, we have a grinder that's 3 times as expensive as mine. And that thing will grind it so perfectly, you would think that it was born to be that way. So while we always recommend grinding before you brew, if you don't have a good grinder at home, having it ground and then sealed at the roastery and then keeping it in something like an air-escape container. As long as you're going to use this up within, say, a week or so, I think that you may find it's a good compromise. Just be very careful about keeping it as fresh as you can. And if you want an air-escape, these are awesome little containers. We've shown them on every program for the last few, but they're amazing. You push all the way down to wherever the level of the coffee is. It sucks all the air out, so it keeps it extremely fresh. I recommend leaving it whole bean and then grinding before you brew. But if you don't have a good grinder, you can have us grind it for French press for you and then keep it in that air-escape. That's a nice kind of compromise. All right. Hey, there's some comments. All right. What's the advantage of French press over regular coffee maker? So the advantage, Katie, for any home coffee brewing is control. I control my water temperature because I heat my kettle up to that specific temperature. I can control my pour because I'm physically pouring it, right? I can control the filtering because I'm deciding how it's filtered. Most electric coffee makers, especially inexpensive ones, don't heat the water hot enough, and they wet some of the coffee while leaving some of it dry, creating an inconsistent brew where you can get over and under extracted coffee mixed in there, and it's just not great. Also, a lot of home coffee makers can't hold enough coffee in their basket to make the 60 grams per liter that we recommend for good quality coffee. That's a good question. There are some exceptions. We sell an electric coffee maker by Bonavita on our website. That's awesome. Also, the Technivorm Mocha Master is another good one. There's several that meet the SCA's Gold Cup certified guidelines. And any electric coffee maker we sell is going to meet those guidelines. So if you go to batdorfcoffee.com, you can find those there. Okay. So it's been long enough. Our coffee has brewed. So now we're going to press it. We have a question? Shoot.
If my French press coffee always tastes muddy, do you think it's because of the grind size I'm using?
So that's a really good question. Let me show you and answer you at the same time. It can be the grind size. You may want to coarsen up the grind a little bit. But it can also be preparation. And some of it is innate to the traditional French press style, and I'll show you how to overcome that in just a minute. So now we just pushed our little plunger down, and we got our coffee, and let's just take one of our little coffee cups here, and we poured our brew. I'm going to enjoy a little bit. That's good. So one thing I can tell you, wow, that is much, woo. So this coffee here, I ground it just a little finer. Just think of it this way, a little coarser than you would for drip. Not as coarse as most recommend for French press. This is great. This came out really, really good. I love that. I'm very impressed. Traditional French press recipe. Let's make one here. Yeah. Switch this out for the other kettle for me. Okay. So traditional French press recipe, what happens is you end up with a suspension. It's going to be hard to show on camera, but a lot of coffee solids pass through this filter. If I were to take these typical coffee filters and show you them, here's a typical coffee filter, right? This is a French press filter. Do you see the difference? You can see right through the French press filter. It's very porous. This is very thick. That's the difference. So a French press is going to let a lot of coffee solids into the suspension that would have been absorbed by the filter. The result is a weightiness in your mouth, a mouthfeel that's almost like the way a milkshake feels, right? It's a thickness to it. Even though it's just regular coffee, there's just more suspended in there. And oftentimes at the bottom of a cup of French press coffee, you get a little bit of the heavier particulates, the sludge, right? Some people love that. That's their jam. If you're an I like motor oil coffee kind of guy, roll with it, right? Just use the very best coffee to get that effect. Freshly roasted, harvested and sourced ethically and with quality in mind, and enjoy it all day long, right? If you want a little bit of a cleaner cup, there's things that you can do to kind of clean up that experience, but the filter itself does let a lot pass through it, okay? So, I'm going to do another one, and we're going to put our coffee in. By the way, if you bought an AeroPress, the AeroPress funnel is a wonderful multitasker for making sure that your coffee is not landing everywhere. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to preheat my vessel. Always, always, always preheat everything. The reason you preheat is because you want all of that heat in your coffee. You don't want the vessel that you're brewing in stealing that heat away. You can do this with your electric coffee maker too. I even put the plunger down in there and get that hot. Don't skip this step, guys. Doesn't matter what you're brewing, it's well worth it to preheat. All right, so I'm going to discard this water. And you can use that water to then preheat the cup you're going to drink out of, right? Now, I'm going to put the coffee on my... Actually, hand me that other scale, just because I haven't changed the programming on this. I love this little scale, but I also use it for espresso, and I have it programmed for that right now. So I'm going to switch to this one. We'll leave that here. But if you need a coffee scale, these are available on our website right now. They're very powerful. All right, so I'm going to dump my coffee in. French press is also less fussy than some other methods. It works pretty easily. You get a decent cup pretty much no matter what. All right, so I've got my coffee in here. I'm using about 56 grams of coffee. You can use a little bit more if you like. And I'm going to fill this up. If it's very fresh coffee, give it a little stir, saturate all those grounds, give them a chance to degas. The reason we let coffee degas is because very fresh coffee has a lot of trapped CO2, and that CO2 can get in the way of the water accessing the coffee grounds to extract their goodness. All right, so I'm just going to fill this up. You do not have to do this particularly slowly. Can you grab the other water? Real quick, the hot one there. Yep. Thank you, and then just fill that from the hot water tap. Everybody give a shout out to my wonderful wife who's helping us out today. She's amazing. So now I'm going to give this a stir just to make sure everything's incorporated together. This is just good coffee technique, right? Stir your coffee up because you want equal access to the coffee. You want the water to affect all the coffee the same way. All right? Now I'm just going to set a timer for 4 minutes. And I'm going to show you an alternate technique on this particular brewer. So let's go 4 minutes. You guys let me know in the comments when 4 minutes is up. And I'm just kidding, I'm watching it. And we'll brew some more coffee. And we're going to use a technique that's going to take some of that bitterness out. While we're waiting for that to brew, I want to talk about some other things you can do with a French press. Some other things that you can do. I'm going to pour some of this, and I'm going to ask you if you will just kind of get that all emptied out for me so I can use that in a second. Some other things you can do with a French press. Because you've got this awesome plunger, this plunger can do a lot of stuff. It forces whatever's in your press through these small holes. And they may be large for a coffee filter, but they're small for anything else. One thing I've done with it is I've emulsified a salad dressing in my French press. Oil and water don't like to combine. If you've got a dressing with oil in it, put it in your press. Go like that. Emulsified salad dressing. You can also use your French press for cold brew. So we're not going to do that on this program right at this moment, but if you take your French press, thank you, dear, and you put your coarsely ground coffee, and you can grind a little on the coarse side for cold brew, very coarse actually. Fill it with cool water, leave it for 24 hours, come back, and then you can actually just strain it right inside the press. Simply push it down, push the coffee to the bottom, and pour your cold brew concentrate right out of your own French press. It's a great way to do it. I would say during the 24-hour steep time, just cover it in plastic wrap. Don't put this on it. But when you're done, you can plunge it and then pour it out into whatever you're going to keep it in, put it in the fridge, clean this out. Don't store it with the grounds because while they may not over-extract really quickly, if they're in the fridge for a week or two like that, it won't be a good thing flavor-wise. So a great way to make cold brew at home is simply in your French press. And again, if you have questions, let us know. Also, if you haven't already shared the stream, share the stream. We're going to give away a French press to somebody that's watching right now. So if you want that to be you, share the stream. We'll ship it to you no charge. And we'll ship you a bag of the Mocha Java they're trying it. Okay, so we're almost there. I can't wait for you guys to see this technique. Hopefully, we got everybody watching. I'm going to take a look and see if we've got any questions or comments. Let's see. Don't put this on it. Oh, look at that. Okay. Oh, Beth, I'm sorry to see you were having some trouble. Hopefully it's working now. Cool. So we got some folks watching. Thank you to everybody. We're going to do... oh, let me show you another thing. Hang on one second. I am walking over here to grab a little something special. Cool. So here's another thing you can do with your French press. You can actually use it to make a latte. So I'm just going to pour a little milk into my press. I'm going to put my lid on it, and then I'm going to plunge up and down. I need to do this safely and on the counter. Guys, don't let me kill myself here. And I'm just going to plunge, 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 plunge. And look what's happening. The milk is expanding. Let me go picture in picture. The milk is expanding. I probably put a little too much in for this size. And it's actually getting foamy. So then I can take my coffee and my milk, and I can make a creamy, dreamy little latte. So the texture is really close to what you would get on an espresso machine. It's really not that far off. It's not exactly there, but it's close. I use cold milk for the purpose of our demo. If you want hot milk, warm it up on your stove. Swirl it in the pan, especially if you've got a little saucier. Do not burn it. Keep it cooler. I would say if you've got a thermometer, it helps to temp it. Shoot for about 135. But honestly, if it's warm to the touch, it's probably perfect. And then you can froth it up, pour it on top of your coffee, and you've got a little homemade, it's really quite good. It's so nice. It's so creamy. Like the mouthfeel, it's cold, but it's tasty, isn't it? You can tell the frothiness. Yeah, I just let Pam try it. It's really, really good. So that's a cool hack, coffee hack. At home, you can do that. There's so many things that you can do in it. It's such a useful device. If you've got a hack for me that you've done with your French press, let me know in the comments. All right. And we'll try to answer those questions for you. So we are at our time. I'm going to grab one thing from over here. Okay, I'm back. Don't forget, 10% off, guys. Use our code WatchAndLearn10. We really appreciate you watching. Also, check out the coffees we featured today. We've got links. We'll put a link in the description for the Mocha Java. If you want to try it out, I really recommend it. It's actually a really delicious coffee, or any of the other ones we've shown you today. So what we're going to do now, switch it down here, is it has been the traditional sort of 4 minutes of brew time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a quick stir. Real gentle. By the way, that's also the stir stick that comes with the AeroPress. If you've ever bought an AeroPress, you'll know that all of the tools they include are the best little coffee tools. I kind of love it. Okay, so guys, my French press is too heavy in the mouth. I don't like the amount of coffee that's suspended in there. I want something a little cleaner, a little thinner. This is your technique. You ready? So now what we're going to do is we're going to skim the surface. We're just going to pull off any oil that's sitting on there. And I just use 2 spoons to do that. Real easy. The reason is that oil and whatever's trapped in it can be a hair bitter if not incorporated. So whatever floated to the top, we're skimming it off. You don't have to do this, But this is a technique if you want to kind of clean up that flavor a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just let it sit. The coffee's too hot to drink. We want it to cool anyway. What's happening is inside this chamber, there are little particles of coffee floating around. This is where I should have like a sketch like Ben likes to do and Josh. Little particles of coffee are floating around in here, and the longer they sit, the more they settle all the way to the bottom. If they settle to the bottom, they won't be in our cup. If we just were to press the coffee down now, put our plunger in, press it down, it would push large things to the bottom, but most of the large things are already on the bottom. What would happen is those little particles would shoot right through the filter and remain in your cup. And that's where you get some of that muddiness, you get some of that heavier mouthfeel. And again, if you like that, that's fine. But if you want a cleaner cup, waiting and letting that coffee kind of settle out a little bit more, letting all that drop down, is going to result in the coffee on top being that much cleaner. Okay? So we'll call this gravity filtration. Copyright 2020, Brendan Smith. It's probably already a thing. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to give it 5 minutes or so, let it settle down, and then we're going to show you how to pour the coffee. If you like a French press, another good option is our Steeped Dancing Goats blend, by the way. Steeped comes in these little sachets. It is freshly ground coffee. We'll put a link in the description for you. All you have to do is open up the bag. It is roasted fresh. Let's flip it, yeah. Roasted fresh. It is 100% certified, fully compostable coffee. So you want to see how easy a steeped cup of coffee is? You put the sachet in there. You pour the water. And you give it about 5 minutes. Give it a couple dunks along the way for good measure. If you want to. You do you. And in 5 minutes, let me see, there we go. In 5 minutes, that's going to brew a good cup of coffee. I also find that the steep does well to go even longer. I like my steeped at 7 minutes, even 9 minutes. If I'm in a hurry and I want to drink it, I drink it at 5, no problem, it tastes great. But when I'm traveling, here's my hotel hack, once we're staying in hotels again. I pull out the steeped, I pull out the hotel coffee maker, whatever it is. I don't put any coffee in it. I just run it so that it heats the water into my cup that I have the steeped satchel in, just like I did just sachet. Sorry, satchel's what you put things in, right? And then I take a shower. And when I come out, I drink my coffee. And it's the perfect temperature, and it's really good. It won't over-extract. It gets better. It doesn't get bitter. It's a great product. And because it's ultrasonically sealed and nitrogen flushed, basically the coffee is ground in an entire building that's a low oxygen environment, so that oxygen doesn't have access, because as soon as oxygen hits that coffee, it starts to degrade the quality. Because it's a low oxygen environment, it doesn't have that same exposure. So you can keep these for about 4 months instead of a couple of weeks that you would want to keep fresh coffee. It's also a great way to keep decaf on hand for friends. So we sell it in regular, decaf, or this is a variety pack. 3 regular, 2 decaf. You can get that on our website. Do we have a question?
Jason asks, is it over-extracting while you wait for it to settle?
Yeah, Jason asks, is it over-extracting while I wait for it to settle? No. It's a good question. And it's a valid question that's often the idea is this. The coffee we don't want, okay, over-extracting. Here's what over-extracting means. Water pulls stuff, soluble elements out of coffee. Around 28% of any coffee bean is soluble. The rest is insoluble. So what's soluble is what can be dissolved into the liquid and drunk. Everything else becomes the grounds that you discard. In that soluble portion of the coffee, about 2/3 of what it can give up is delicious. I'm kind of generalizing here. Once you've gotten all the good stuff, all the sweet stuff, all the tasty coffee flavor out, if you continue to extract, what you end up with is you start to pull out some bitter, unpleasant notes, and that's what over-extraction is. However, what we found is that in a French press style coffee, where the coffee is, once the coffee brews, I don't find that I get a lot of over-extraction by letting it sit for a little while. Now, I wouldn't leave it for an hour like this. That's why the thermal press that we sell has a brew stop technology to separate the grounds from the coffee, so that you can take this camping, you can take this. This would also be a good hotel, like a road trip in the car. You know, it's unbreakable, probably. You can keep that coffee for a long time, for hours and hours and hours, and you won't get the over-extraction because it separates it. I'll tell you, for if I've got any coffee pros watching, a perfect example is cupping. When we cup coffee, we're often tasting coffee that's been sitting in those grounds for about 20 minutes, and it's not over-extracting, right? So I find that it does not over-extract that quickly. If you were to continuously push fresh water that wasn't already filled up with coffee, like it's not an immersion method, it's a brew-through method, that new water is going to be hungrier than the water that's already filled with coffee. That would over-extract in the same amount of time. You follow? So if I was pouring water through and I continued to go over that same coffee for the amount of time that we've been brewing, it would, Jason's absolutely right, it would over-extract. Because that fresh, clean water is very hungry. Water is a solvent. It's looking to dissolve stuff. It needs to dissolve stuff. In fact, this is why we don't put distilled water in an espresso machine. Here's a fun little fact. Distilled water has nothing. It has no dissolved solids in it, right? Normal water, filtered water, spring water, has magnesium in it and other minerals. When you're brewing coffee, the first thing that your water is going to kind of dissolve are those minerals. If you put distilled water in an espresso machine, it'll actually eat the metal in the machine over time because it doesn't have enough minerals. And the water is hungry. It's looking to nom, 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 nom. That's the technical term. And if it doesn't have any minerals in the water to nom on, aka distilled water, it'll actually eat the metal out of your coffee brewing equipment. So don't use distilled water, especially not an espresso machine, but in coffee brewing equipment of any kind, you should just focus on using, there we go, good tasting, clean water. Okay, awesome question. Thank you for that question. Thank you for letting me think through how to answer that. All right. Yeah, so right now I'm using the Brazil. The Chambord style is the one that has a top that looks like this. This is my personal one, and I can't find the bottom to it. Actually, that brings up a really good question. Can I get our French assistant to come back up? You guys want to say hello to ma chérie Pamela? 10% off, don't forget. So, a French press, the history is really interesting and a little bit muddy. The French press was first invented in the 19th century 1850s, I believe, by a French inventor, hence the name French press. However, the original design did not seal the chamber completely. Because it didn't seal the chamber completely, it didn't really work the way the modern French press works. So in 1929, a pair of Italian inventors invented something that is very close to the modern French press. So many Italians will tell you that they feel it's really an Italian invention. She doesn't like that because she's French. Go with the bit. So then, fast forward, so a lot of times you'll see since 1929, French press since 1929. That would be the Italian version. In 1958, I believe, there was a Swiss design that is and remains today the Chambord design that we still use. So it's been with us for over 50 years. You can find this on our website. We'll put the link to the entire one, not just the plunger, for you. And that is made and distributed by Bodum, who own the rights to the Chambord name. They also own the design of the French press. They've also made this style. This is the Brazil style. Difference is this one, the interior glass is not detachable. On the Chambord style, you can pull the glass out from the metal. And this one has a little plastic here and here. Again, it's like BPA free. Check our website. It's got all the deets. It's environmentally friendly. This one costs about half as much, though, and it works equally well. So that's why I'm brewing in that one today. It's a great device. We recommend it. We've also got the Planetary Designs one. This one, amazing gift because it comes with two cute little coffee mugs. Did I lose one? Oh, I used one for milk. Cute little coffee mugs to take camping with you. And again, this one's thermal, so it'll keep your coffee hot for hours. Will not oversteep it. Otherwise, works exactly the same. It's beautiful. It's lovely. So you can get that on our website as a gift set. So this is the Planetary Designs one. And then we have the Brazil, which we'll link, and a piece of the Chambord. Hit us up with your questions. Thank you, my lovely assistant.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Just kidding. Grandfather used to say it like that to be funny. Now it's the only way I can say it. Yeah, there's questions of, are the oils in the French press healthy? Have I heard this? I've heard there was an article going around about that. I think it is probably something that, I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never heard of a major issue, but there was an article suggesting that maybe having a little bit less of that's a good thing. So I'm showing you how to do that actually now. Another trick is this. If you have a French press and you're like, you know what, I'm not investing in another piece of coffee equipment. I'm using my French press, but I want it to be even cleaner, filter it. Take a coffee filter, pour your French press coffee through it, and then drink that. That'll pull a lot of those oils right out as well. So now we've let this sit for a while. Let me zoom back in on this. We'll put me small. There we go. We've let this sit. I can see when I look at it that a lot of those particulates are gone. I'm going to give it a very gentle stir because I don't want to kick anything up. Now I'm going to pour this out. You say, what about the plunger? In this case, I don't want to push the plunger all the way down. I'm just going to use it as like a final strainer. So I'm going to push it just below the surface of the coffee. And I'm going to use it to sort of strain any little bits that are there. And then I'm going to pour very carefully. And what you'll see is that the resulting liquor is much cleaner than a typical French press would be. Really hard to see that. But it doesn't have that siltiness to it. So I'm going to drink a little. It's a little bit sweeter. It's a lot cleaner. It's a lot less of that heavy mouthfeel. So if you're interested in cleaning up the flavor of your French press, that's a great way to do it. Play with it. Technique is open to the user, right? You find the best way to make your French press coffee and then enjoy it, because after all, it's your coffee. Again, 10% off anything you want to purchase. Use that coupon code Watch and Learn 10. It's on your screen right now at batdorfcoffee.com. Really would highly recommend, for the price, guys, the Brazil French press. I think it's $21 on our website. Very inexpensive. Plus, you're going to get 10% off that. So you're getting this thing for like less than $20. And like I said, make your salad dressing in it. Dry your julienne zucchini. A little gentle push to squeeze the water out. Make your milk for a latte in the morning. So if you are already, here's a fun trick. If you're already making an AeroPress, make your AeroPress of coffee to make your espresso, similar to espresso, we're at faux espresso. And then take your French press and make your milky milk, your foam, and then pour your milk over your AeroPress coffee and make your latte. And guys, maybe we should make some latte art that way. That would be fun, right? See what the best art we can come up with. In fact, if you want to pour and make some designs with your milk in your French press, and you can use the full-size ones too. I'm just using the little one for now. Go ahead and give it a try. Post some pictures if you're in the VIP coffee club. It's our Batdorf Boosters. We do extra giveaways there on Facebook, Batdorf Boosters. Join the Batdorf Boosters and post a picture of your setup. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to look back down at my steep coffee now. I forgot I had that there. Beautiful thing about that steep is it does not matter that I forgot about it at all. It's still delicious. Now I just discard. Everything's fully compostable, including the packaging. Certified, fully compostable. Awesome. That's delicious. That's our Steep Dancing Goats blend. Comes in regular and decaf. Any other questions? Did we get any questions in there? Guys, thank you for tuning in. It's been a great show. Katie's husband, Bob, learned a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in, Bob, and everyone. Say hello to our French assistant today. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific. We have some shorter shows with Ben and with Josh. Awesome stuff planned. We've got some special guests. We'll be revealing some new coffees. If you want to purchase anything today, we've got links in the comments. We'll put them in the description as well for you. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And I think I'm going to say that we are going to demonstrate the Kalita Wave brewer. Show you how to make a little coffee in the Kalita Wave on Wednesday, and then answer your questions. If there's a coffee you want to check out, let us know. You can go to batdorfcoffee.com, and we're doing free shipping if your order is $30 or more. Guys, we appreciate your support so much at this time and always, but especially now more than ever. All our coffee is roasted fresh to order. That means when you order it today, we will roast it. We roast Monday through Thursday, so we will roast it on Monday, ship it to you on Monday, and you'll have a wonderful experience. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll say au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bye-bye now. Take care.